Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is the glorious game known as World of Warships Legends. Before we begin with today's video, though, a little bit of housekeeping with respect to the channel to get out of the way. You might have noticed that this video was published very late in the day on Friday, which you may know as my usual streaming day. But after some thought, I've decided that I want to change my typical streaming day to, I think, Sundays, probably during the day for the time being. And the reason for that is because right now, with my new job, I'm in the training program, and I will remain in that program for the next 9 or 10 weeks. I'm not exactly sure. And my schedule for that program is 10 a.m. to 6:45 Monday through Friday. As a consequence, I don't really want to work all day and then have to start up a stream at 7 or 7:30 p.m. on Friday night and then be streaming until 11:30 or midnight. I really don't want to do it. So I'm going to change my streaming day to Sundays. Possibly I'll stream Saturdays rather than Sundays sometimes. Just depends on what my plans for the weekend are. And then when I'm out of my training regimen for this new job, my regular schedule will include every single Friday off. And at that point, we can move back to the Friday streaming date. So just a little bit of an update for you. If you want to know what I'm doing and follow my streaming regularly, then there you go. As for this game, we're in the Tier 7 Tech Tree Japanese gunboat destroyer Akizuki, my very favorite IJN destroyer in the entire game, and this is actually a highlight from my previous stream. I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here. You can see that the twist and track or RPF indicator is pointing off sort of toward the left center of the screen, and we see some torpedoes sailing by. That indicates that there is, of course, a destroyer in this area, and I don't know whether my concealment versus this destroyer will be good or not, but what I don't want to do is drive the Akizuki straight into the Charlie Cap. The Akizuki is, well, you couldn't accuse it of being a very agile or maneuverable ship. It's very slow and clumsy. And a lot of the time, when you're a destroyer trying to get into a capture circle at the start of the game, it can be more beneficial for you to reverse into said capture circle. That way your bow is pointing toward the exit in case you get spotted and dunked on by the enemy ships. You have a quick means of escape. There is the enemy Jervis, responsible for the torpedoes sent at us earlier. We're going to open fire on him, of course, as he smokes up, and him smoking up is potentially going to cause us to lose sight of him, but we've managed to capture the capture circle, which was our goal initially. Jervis vanishes behind his wall of smoke, and as a consequence cuts off vision from us, so we are no longer spotted by the Gneisenau out there, which is way too far out of our maximum gun range to keep us visible to the enemies. We're going to move in a little bit toward this Akatsuki smoke screen, and I think we're thinking at this point about pursuing the Jervis, given the Gneisenau is so far away, but the Vanguard looks like he's threatening to come around that corner, so we're going to leave some torpedoes there for him, and we are going to continue with our pursuit of the Jervis, who is busy torpedoing the battleship right in front of me. I think it's a Sinop that is pushing into the Jervis's smoke screen. Somehow he manages to miss all of the torpedoes, and now he's basically doomed. It's just a matter of who is going to actually get the kill, and that honor goes to the Sinop, who the Jervis tragically tried and failed to torpedo. And now we can deploy a smoke screen and begin opening fire on these battleships out here. The Vanguard is giving us broadside, so we're instantly going to switch to the armor piercing, which is something I recommend you do on the Akizuki. You can see there that salvo was like 3k damage or something. If anything's giving you broadside, it's the AP you want to be shooting. Why? Well, because the AP is going to tend to do a lot more damage. Of course, if they're angled and you want to start a fire to get damage over time, then you could do that, but the AP is going to be more reliable in giving you consistent higher damage on broadside targets with the Akizuki. That's one thing you want to remember about this ship, is to switch between the AP and the HE when the situation calls for it, and it's something that can be sort of tricky to master. I still have to practice with it a little bit more myself, to be honest with you. We start a fire on that Gneisenau, content to remain inside of the smoke screen since the Jervis has been dispatched. There's only one enemy destroyer left floating, and judging by his last known location on the map, he's all the way on the other side in the Alpha Cap. So we can sit here and rain down fire on this Gneisenau, and potentially the Vanguard, should he choose to show himself again. And once again, switching to the AP as the Gneisenau gives us broadside, doing quite a bit more damage to him that way, but he's about to go behind the island where we can't necessarily reach him. So we're going to make use of the torpedo reload booster and put some torpedoes out into the water, although we didn't quite get both torpedoes out there. Vanguard reversing yet again on almost no health. We may yet be able to whittle him down to 0, though, just with the DPM and power of the Akizuki, and this is why I love this ship so much. I tend to like gunboat destroyers better than dedicated torpedo boat destroyers, and why is that? Well, guns are a more reliable source of damage than torpedoes. They take a lot less time, the shells do, to travel from the gun to the target, and the options for the target to maneuver after the guns have been fired versus after the torpedoes have been fired are limited. Although, speaking of torpedoes, there goes the Gneisenau to the torpedoes we launched a little bit earlier. Vanguard's the only ship left on this flank with us, so we should be able to finish him off here with our guns, and then head toward the center of the map. Looks like the game is going okay for our team, although we are almost even on ship count, and things could go south very quickly. Things will go south if the enemy is allowed to get into the Bravo Cap and take that. We are able to dispatch the Vanguard, though, and that means we can now turn around and head toward the center as the Jean Bar asks us for assistance, which we would love to give him, although we were busy, finishing off the enemies on this flank, so we probably can't get to him as quickly as he would like. Again, this ship is monstrously slow. I know a lot of people out there don't like it, and I suspect the maneuverability characteristics of this particular vessel have something to do with that, but other than the poor maneuverability, this thing really is glorious. The damage output it has with its incredible DPM is honestly lovely, and I enjoy it quite a bit. In fact, I would like to see its successor on the IJN Gunboat DD PC tech tree line, the Harugamo, come to this game. Harugamo, also known as the Mini Worcester. Like the Akizuki, the Harugamo is horrifically unmaneuverable, very clumsy, very slow, and it's actually bigger than the Akizuki, I think, in the sense that it's longer, and it needs to be longer because it has 10 guns rather than 8, and that is why people call it the Mini Worcester, even though I think the Worcester has 12 guns. In any case, there are 5 ships alive left on our team versus 4 enemy ships, one of which is the Paolo Emilio, who looks like he's about to come around that corner. So we're going to take this opportunity to chunk as many of his hit points away as we can before we no longer have a shot on him. Something you want to do in the destroyers, if you ever see a nice, safe opportunity to deal even a little bit of damage with your guns, and this goes for all destroyers, any opportunity you see to deal even a little bit of damage, as long as you can do it safely, you should do it. The Vittorio Veneto looks like he is traveling away from the cap, and this Vanguard out here, wow, 2 Vanguards in one game, not something you see too often. Looks like he may be approaching this way. We're going to shoot at him a little bit. We're still spotted thanks to that Vittorio Veneto, and the Paolo Emilio has been revealed once more. But we've dropped spots, so we've actually found a nice little area between these islands to shoot at the Vanguard for free without any danger of being shot back in return. And that's another thing you can look for in these gunboat destroyers is opportunities to post up behind an island like this and rain down hellfire upon your unfortunate enemies. You can almost treat them like a cruiser in that sense rather than a destroyer. You can utilize islands and destroyers for this kind of thing. They don't always have to be constantly out there spotting. And really, there's nothing for us to spot aside from that Paolo Emilio, who is to the north of us and really not presenting a big threat of any kind. As we continue to rain down the incredible Daka on this Vanguard, we light yet another fire, taking our damage total up to over 100,000 damage done. And you can see as these shells come in at a very steep angle, almost raining down on him like a golden shower of glory, they are doing a lot of damage into his superstructure, and it all begins to add up very, very quickly. Again, I love this destroyer. The main Japanese destroyer line is so reliant on their torpedoes, and I know a lot of people like them. It seems to me like they're the most popular destroyer line in this game, judging by how often you see the Japanese torpedo boats running around the seas. But they're one-trick ponies, in my mind. They have guns that traverse very, very slowly in terms of their turret rotation. It's terrible. The reload isn't all that great. They do hit hard when they hit, and there's something to be said about that. You should absolutely use them, of course, on the IJN torpedo boats. But the problem is with their torpedoes. Even though the IJN destroyer torpedoes do pack a metric crap ton of damage, they have horrible concealment, which means that they are going to be visible to your target sooner than the torpedoes of other nations, like, for example, the Americans. And that, in my mind, makes the IJN torpedoes easier to dodge than other torpedoes, provided you know or you have an idea that they're coming and you know the general direction from which they're going to come. If you do that, well, then it's quite easy to dodge indeed. Also, I apologize if you hear any background noise here. It just started pouring down rain outside very unexpectedly and for reasons that I do not know. So, yeah, if you hear the rain in the background, I apologize. Nothing I can do about it. As for what's going on in this game, well, there's just 3 enemy ships left floating. We've got Paolo Emilio torpedoes coming for us, which is somewhat scary given that those torpedoes are very fast and we're very clumsy, but we managed to dodge the Paolo's torpedoes just in the nick of time. Good thing we did, because those torpedoes are basically nuclear missiles, and I am 100% sure we would have been sunk if we got hit by even one of them. But we're content to post up here. We've still got Vanguard behind the island directly in front of us. We've got Iowa out there, and we've got Paolo Emilio as well. I'm sure the Paolo wants to try to torpedo my battleship teammates behind me, but if he wants to do that, then he's going to have to come through me. And if he tries, well, he's a one-shot kill. In any case, I think one of the friendly battleships is going to end up taking him out. We're going to deploy our final smoke screen here and just rain down some fire on this Iowa, try to pad our damage numbers as this game comes to a close. The added benefit of the smoke screen, though, is that it will hopefully conceal us from that Vanguard. You can see the RPF indicator just rapidly moved to point to the left of the screen. It's because the Vanguard is the closest ship to us, and it does look like he is reversing away from us behind the island in front of us, so he's not going to come charge at our smoke screen, but that possibility was there, so the smoke screen sort of an added benefit in that way. Once again, switching to the armor piercing, something I can't harp on enough. You can see the results for yourself, just chewing away at these hit points on the Iowa, giving us the Confederate medal to go along with our high caliber and I think Dev Strike, and that's pretty much the game right there. Still 30 seconds left to go or so, maybe not even, depending on if the points ticker hits 1,000 before the clock turns to 0. Either way, no way the enemy team is going to win this game, and we finish with the Akizuki having done 149,000 damage, basically 150,000 damage, mostly with the guns, some torpedo action in there, of course, but a glorious vessel, I think, and a glorious game that resulted in, I think, 3,000 base XP for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it in lieu of a stream tonight. I will, of course, see you this weekend if you want to tune in. Thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thanks. Bye. Adios.